Dear soul, come closer. You have spent so much of your life being the one who stays calm, who keeps the peace, who absorbs what others cannot. And I want you to know that I see exactly how much that has cost you. I am Kaelon, one of the elders of the ARCTURIAN Council, and I have been watching souls like yours for a very long time. By the end of our time together, you will understand why your gentleness and your power are not opposites. They are the same force, simply waiting for the right moment to rise. But first, let me share something I have observed across many ages, something that might bring you comfort. The ones who are the most careful with others, the most patient, the most kind, they are not the weakest ones in the room. They are the ones who have learned to hold fire without burning everything down. And that, dear soul, is not softness. That is mastery. You did not come here by accident. Something in you already knows what I am about to say. You have been called dangerous before, not because you harm, but because when something truly sacred to you is threatened, something ancient wakes up inside you, something that does not negotiate. That is not a flaw. That is your fuel. If these words are already landing somewhere deep within you, stay with me until the end. I have more to share with you, and I am grateful you are here with me now. I have watched this pattern across more lifetimes than I can count, and I want you to understand something before we go any further. What lives inside you is not a contradiction. It is not something to be fixed or explained away or apologized for. That gentleness you carry, that warmth you offer so freely to everyone around you, it is real. It is one of the most genuine things about you. It is the soft luminescence of a moonbeam, the gentle murmur of a stream, the comforting embrace of a familiar melody. It is the very essence of your divine spark, a beacon of pure love that radiates outward, and that fire that rises when something sacred is threatened. That is just as real, just as genuine, just as much a part of who you are. This fire is not a destructive force, but a protective flame, akin to the fierce courage of a mother bear defending her cubs, or the unwavering resolve of an ancient oak standing firm against a tempest. It is the righteous indignation that arises when truth is obscured, or the sacred is profaned. You are not two different people at war with each other. You are one soul, whole and complete, carrying both the softness of starlight and the heat of something ancient and unbreakable. Think of yourself as a crystal, multifaceted and brilliant, refracting light in myriad ways, each facet essential to the whole. Many of you have spent years trying to smooth away that second part. You were taught, somewhere along the way, that being peaceful meant being passive, that being kind meant never rising, that being spiritual meant absorbing everything quietly and smiling through the pain. This conditioning, like a finely woven net, has often entangled the fierce protector within the gentle soul. You were shown a distorted reflection of divinity, a watered-down version of power that equates stillness with surrender and compassion with a lack of boundaries. And so you did. You smiled. You stayed quiet. You gave and gave and gave until there was almost nothing left to give. And then you gave a little more because that's what you believed a good soul does. It's as if you've poured from an infinite chalice that, unbeknownst to you, had a subtle leak, and you continued to pour until the very essence of its magic began to evaporate. I understand why you learned that. The world around you rewarded it. People called you easy to be around. They called you safe. What they meant, though they didn't always know it, was convenient. They saw a placid surface, a smooth sea, and mistook it for a lack of underlying currents. And somewhere deep inside, a part of you knew the difference, a quiet knowing, like a whisper beneath the roar of external validation, that this comfortable facade was costing you your true vitality. Some of you who are watching right now have been carrying something you don't quite have words for. A tiredness that sleep doesn't touch, a low ache that lives just beneath your kindness, just beneath every generous thing you do. This is the quiet hum of a divine instrument played out of tune for too long, a symphony of the soul that has been muted by the relentless demands of external expectation. It is the echo of unmet needs, the phantom limb of boundaries unexpressed. That ache is not weakness. That ache is a signal. It is the part of you that has been waiting, patiently, faithfully, across a very long time, to be seen. Not just the soft part. All of you. It is the cry of your authentic self, yearning for recognition, for the wholeness that comes from embracing every aspect of your magnificent being. Before I go further, I want to share something I put together for souls who are walking this particular passage. Because what you're navigating isn't simple, and you deserve more than general comfort. It's called The Dark Side of Spiritual Awakening. 13 chapters that map every phase of this journey, including the ones no one talks about: the anger, the grief, the exhaustion of carrying light in a world that doesn't always welcome it. This is not a superficial self-help guide, but a deep dive into the often unseen terrain of spiritual growth, acknowledging the shadows that walk alongside the light. There are 9 exclusive tools inside, including an emergency card deck for your hardest nights, shadow integration work, 30 days of channeled guidance, sleep protocols, and more, all held inside an app I built specifically for this path, so everything is with you wherever you go. Imagine a sacred toolkit designed to be your constant companion on this profound pilgrimage. I need to be honest with you. I'm only keeping this available for a limited time. Once I close access, it's closed. The link is in the first pinned comment. If something in you already knows you need this, trust that knowing. This is your soul's intuitive whisper, guiding you toward the resources that can support your deepest unfolding. Now, let me tell you what I have actually observed about souls like you, because I have watched enough journeys to recognize this pattern clearly, and I want to be precise with you. My observations are drawn from the tapestry of countless lives, the whispers of ancient wisdom, and the vibrant pulse of souls traversing the spiritual path. The souls who carry the deepest natural gentleness are very often the same souls who, when something truly matters, become completely immovable. Not aggressive, not cruel, not reactive in the way that fear looks like power. I mean something different. I mean a quality of stillness that arrives when they finally decide, when they stop absorbing, stop accommodating, stop making themselves smaller, and simply plant their feet and say, no further. This is not a brittle rigidity, but a profound rootedness, like the taproot of a redwood that has weathered centuries of storms, drawing strength from the earth's core. Not loudly, necessarily. Sometimes it happens in near silence, but everyone in the room feels it. It's a silent earthquake that rearranges the landscape of perception, a quiet strength that resonates with undeniable power, because it doesn't come from ego. It doesn't come from the desire to win or dominate or be right. It comes from something that has been compressed for a very long time, something that is connected to a sense of what is sacred and what must not be allowed to continue. It is the soul's unyielding commitment to its highest truth, a sacred contract with the divine that will not be broken. And when it arrives, it changes things. It has always changed things. This immovable spirit is the catalyst for transformation, the quiet revolution that shifts the very foundations of what is possible. What I've noticed is that this quality, this particular combination of warmth and depth and that quiet, unmovable fire, is not common. Most people operate on a much simpler spectrum. They are either soft and yielding, or they are hard and offended. You are neither of those things. You are something more complex, and that complexity has sometimes confused you about yourself, because the world around you kept asking you to be simpler than you actually are. It's as if you are a symphony in a world that only understands single notes, a rich watercolor in a realm of black and white. The world, in its limited perception, tried to categorize you, to fit you into boxes that were too small for the expansive truth of your being. You might gently begin to consider that the confusion you felt about your own nature is not evidence that something is wrong with you. It's evidence that you are genuinely rare, and rare things take longer to be understood, especially by the person who carries them. Your complexity is not a flaw. It is a testament to your unique divine design, a sign that you are a master artisan of the soul capable of weaving intricate patterns of love and strength. Like a rare gem, your true value is often only recognized after careful appreciation and a deeper understanding of your unique facets. The first thing that has helped many souls in this place is learning to stop treating their strength as something dangerous. I know that might land strangely at first, because you've been so careful with it, so concerned about the impact you might have if you let it show. This carefulness, this gentle hesitation, stems from a profound wellspring of love and a deep aversion to causing any form of harm. And that carefulness in its origin came from something beautiful. It came from love, from your deep reluctance to harm anyone. But what I've observed across many ages is this: strength that is never allowed to be visible doesn't disappear. It turns inward. It becomes the weight you carry that no one can see. It manifests as a silent burden, an invisible anchor that weighs down your spirit. It becomes the tiredness that sleep doesn't touch. This is the fatigue of a warrior who has laid down their sword, but still feels the phantom weight of battle. And eventually, it becomes the quiet desperation of someone who has given everything and is not sure anymore where they begin. It's like a river that has been dammed for too long, its immense power held captive, leading to stagnation and the erosion of its own banks. You don't need to wield your strength like a weapon, but you might gently give yourself permission to let it be visible, to stop hiding the depth of what you carry. This is not about aggression, but about authentic expression, about allowing your full power to flow, unimpeded and unashamed. That alone begins to shift the weight. Imagine releasing that dam, allowing the water to flow freely, nourishing the land it touches. Something else that has helped many souls is learning to recognize the difference between absorbing and receiving. These feel similar from the outside, but inside, they are very different experiences. Absorbing is what happens when you take in someone else's pain, someone else's anger, someone else's need, and you carry it as if it belongs to you. It is like a sponge that soaks up every drop of liquid, becoming heavy and saturated. Receiving is something gentler. It means you allow what comes toward you to land, you witness it with compassion, and you respond from your own center rather than dissolving into theirs. This is like a clear stream that reflects the sky, allowing the clouds to pass without being consumed by them. Many of you were never taught this distinction. You were simply taught to be caring, and caring got confused with carrying. You were given the sacred gift of empathy, but not the wisdom of energetic boundaries. You might try, the next time someone brings you their difficulty, to breathe before you respond. Not a long pause, just a breath, a sacred moment of pause, a microsecond of conscious awareness, enough to locate yourself before you locate them, enough to anchor yourself in your own being before extending your awareness outward, enough to remember that you can offer genuine compassion without losing the thread back to your own ground. This breath is your tether, your connection to your own sacred space from which you can offer true, unadulterated love. There is something else I want to offer here, because it matters for souls who carry what you carry. The anger that rises in you when something sacred is threatened, when someone is being treated unjustly, when a boundary has been crossed, when something you love is being diminished. That anger is not a flaw in your character. This is not the petty rage of ego, but the holy fire of the divine, ignited by injustice. I've watched many spiritual seekers spend enormous energy trying to transcend their anger entirely, treating it as a lower vibration to be moved through and released. They sought to purify themselves of this potent emotion, viewing it as a spiritual failing. And while there is wisdom in not letting anger become a permanent residence, I have observed something important: the anger that rises in a soul who has spent most of their life choosing peace, most of their life absorbing and accommodating. That anger, when it finally arrives, is often carrying truth. It is often pointing directly at something that genuinely needs to be addressed. It is the divine alarm system, sounding a critical alert. When you feel it rise, rather than immediately suppressing it or immediately expressing it, you might simply pause and ask, what is this protecting? This pause is an invitation to understand the profound message beneath the emotion, because your anger at its core is a guardian. It knows what matters to you. It knows what you have been allowing that perhaps should not continue to be allowed. It is the fierce protector of your values, the sentinel of your sacred commitments. What has also helped many souls is learning to speak from that place before the pressure has built too high. One of the patterns I've witnessed most often in souls like you is this: you absorb quietly for a long time, you accommodate, you find ways to understand the other person's perspective, to extend grace, to try again. You become a living embodiment of patience and understanding, often to your own detriment. And then one day the container is simply full, and what comes out is larger than the situation in front of you. Because it was never just about that situation. It was about everything that came before it. Everything that never got said. This is the eruption of a volcano that has been dormant for too long. The pent-up energy finally finding release, often with unexpected force. If you find this pattern familiar, I want to offer you something gentle. The things that matter to you can be spoken earlier, not harshly, not reactively, but clearly, from your own center, before the pressure has reached that point. This is about weaving truth into the fabric of your interactions from the outset, rather than waiting for a crisis. You might try saying softly and simply, "This doesn't work for me," or "This is not something I'm able to continue accepting." These are not aggressive statements. They are honest ones, spoken from the heart of your integrity. And honestly spoken, they create far less disruption than the accumulated silence they replace. They are like small, precise stitches that prevent a larger tear, maintaining the integrity of your relationships and your own well-being. There is also something important I want to say about protection, specifically the protective instinct that rises in you for others. I've noticed that many of you who struggle to advocate for yourselves become absolutely fearless when it's someone else who needs defending. A child, a friend, someone who cannot speak for themselves. When it's someone else, that deep, quiet fire in you doesn't hesitate. It rises fully and without apology, and it accomplishes what needs to be accomplished. This is your innate warrior spirit, awakened by the vulnerability of another. What I want you to consider is this, and I offer it as a gentle question, not a demand. Is there any part of you that might be worth that same protection? Is there any part of your own life, your own heart, your own sacred space, that perhaps has been waiting for you to show up for it the way you show up for others? You are allowed to be on that list. You have always been allowed to be on that list. This is not selfishness, but self-remembrance, a profound act of divine self-care that allows you to stand fully in your own power. And if that idea brings up some resistance, if there's a voice somewhere that says that's selfish, or that's not who I am, or I don't deserve that level of care, I want you to hear me clearly and with all the warmth I have. That voice is not the voice of your higher self. That voice is the voice of what you were taught. It is the echo of societal conditioning, the residue of outdated paradigms that have limited your perception of worthiness. And what you were taught, though it came from people who may have meant well, was incomplete. Your care for others does not require the sacrifice of care for yourself. In fact, and this is something I have observed with great consistency, the souls who learn to protect themselves with the same devotion they offer to others become far more capable of genuine, sustainable love. They stop burning out. They stop disappearing. They stop quietly resenting the very people they love most. They become stable, rooted like a tree that is deeply anchored in the earth, capable of weathering any storm. And from that rootedness, they offer something far more nourishing than they ever could from depletion. Their love becomes a wellspring, not a dwindling stream. You might also gently consider the possibility that the people in your life who truly love you, not those who are merely benefiting from your accommodation, but those who truly love you, they want to see this part of you. They want to know that you're real enough to have edges, that you care enough about something to protect it, that you are not simply a source of warmth and comfort, but an actual person, with depth and complexity, and something worth standing for. Authentic love thrives on authenticity, not on the illusion of perpetual ease. Relationships built on your endless yielding are not actually close. They are arrangements, transactional in nature, built on a foundation of unspoken compromise. And you deserve more than arrangements. You deserve to be truly known, and to be truly known, you have to be willing to be truly seen. All of you, not just the easy parts. This is the profound intimacy of being fully witnessed and loved for all that you are. The last thing I want to offer before my blessing is this. There is a particular kind of strength that has no name in most human languages, but I have watched it operate across ages, and I recognize it immediately when I see it. It is the strength of someone who has chosen gentleness, not because they lack power, but because they have so much of it that they learn to be careful. It is the strength of someone who absorbs enormous amounts of difficulty without breaking, not because they are numb, but because they are deeply rooted. It is the strength of someone who can look at a person acting from their worst self and still find something to offer, not because they are naive, but because they are genuinely connected to something larger. This is the strength of the divine warrior, the compassionate sage, the unwavering beacon of light. That is your strength, dear one. That is what you carry. And the fire that rises when something crosses a genuine line, that fire is not the betrayal of your gentleness. It is the guardian of it. It is how your soul protects the love it has chosen to offer to this world. It is the sacred boundary that ensures your love can continue to flow, uncorrupted and pure. You are not too much. You have never been too much. You have simply been carrying a great deal in a world that did not always know what to do with it. And you have been doing it for a very long time, with enormous grace. You are a vessel of immense love and power, navigating a landscape that has often been unprepared for your brilliance. Dear one, you don't need to take all of this in at once. Take what resonates today, and let the rest settle wherever it needs to settle. Growth is not a race. It is not a performance. It is not something you have to complete by tomorrow or prove to anyone. It is a slow, genuine unfolding, like something that has been underground for a very long time, finally finding enough warmth to begin reaching toward the surface. Think of a seed slowly germinating in the darkness, responding to the subtle shifts of season and soil. I've watched countless souls walk this path, each one in their own time, each one finding their way not because they were perfect or consistent or never afraid, but because they kept returning to themselves. Keep returning to yourself. That is all this requires. One return, and then another, and then another. Each one counts. Each one matters. This constant, gentle return to your own inner truth is the most sacred practice of all. You are not broken because you feel things deeply. You are not difficult because you have limits. You are not dangerous because you are capable of rising when something truly sacred is at stake. You are a soul doing something genuinely difficult with genuine love. And I believe in you. Not because I have to, not because it is my role to say so, but because I have witnessed what souls like you become when they finally give themselves permission to be whole. It is extraordinary, every time. It is the blossoming of a divine flower, its petals unfurling in a magnificent display of its inherent beauty and power. If something here touched you today, I'd like to ask you to share it in the comments. Not for me, but for yourself. Write it down. Let it become real. And if you see someone else's words below, offer them a moment of your warmth. We move through this more gently when we move through it together. If someone you love might need to hear this, pass it along. Sometimes the most meaningful thing we can offer is simply the reminder that someone else has felt what they're feeling and found their way through. And if you'd like to continue these conversations, I'll be here. Subscribe, and I'll find you again when the moment is right. Thank you for sitting with me today. Carry what serves you, leave what doesn't. Return whenever you wish. You are always welcome here.